So there's been one automaker that's fascinated me throughout this entire show. I've been to their booth 3 or 4 times now, and I think they're the most interesting out of any of them. It's not because they have the fastest cars or the newest tech, but it's because it's the first time a Chinese automaker has ever sold a car in the US market, and that is GAC Motors. Now GAC has a lineup of 4 or 5 cars out here, but this is their flagship model, the GS8. I believe this will be the first one available in the US. It's a mid-size SUV. Really some pretty neat features. The headlights are pretty interesting. I'm assuming full LED, running lights down lower. Their logo's kind of cool. I expected it to be kind of weird, but it's honestly pretty average. Steering wheel has a lot of buttons that you'd expect. Voice commands. There's an answer and hang up telephone button, and then the voice to talk button up here. Heated steering wheel. Not sure what this is. I'm assuming that's the radar guided cruise control. Cruise control buttons over here. You do have paddle shifters. Gauge cluster looks pretty traditional for these days. Analog gauges on either side, digital screen in the middle. You have all your climate controls down here, as well as defrost, fan speed, your radio controls just above that. Keyless start, which is good. This button, I have no idea what that means. WDEM, electronic parking brake, auto hold, which might be a hill start assist, perhaps. A lot of automakers these days are getting rid of your traditional handle when you're shifting. This one has the handle, but the ones that are getting rid of it are going to dials. Just below this is a dial, but this is to select your mode. So it seems you have desert, not desert, snowy desert, and regular. Beside that are an array of other settings, your forward collision, lane keep assist, blind spot warning. Your guess is as good as mine. Heated and cooled front seats, which is a nice feature. You do have 3-zone climate control, ion air cleaning. The nav screen is pretty nice, really, even though it's not all in English. Pretty good. It's all touchscreen. It works pretty well. One issue I did notice is that this shows us in the middle of China, and we are not in the middle of China. We're in Detroit. There's some nice velvety kind of deals over here. Leather wrapped handles on the armrest. Some nice wood accents along the trim panels here. I'm not sure if those are real or not. Overhead, you have link system for Bluetooth, an SOS button, your sunroof controls up here, your interior lights, and a sunglass holder. The center console is one of the stranger ones I've had to deal with. You have to reach really far back underneath to find the button in here, and you can open the upper level, which has just a very thin, flat piece here that is removable. Or, if I can reach in there, I can open the lower level, which removes that flat piece as I lift it up. And then there's this weird plastic slider, which covers up the cup holder area and the center console, but you can move it all the way back or all the way forward, and then reach in the back or close it and then move it all the way back. The cup holders are also movable. You have these 2 upper ones, which are pretty shallow, and then 2 more just below it. There is a panoramic sunroof, which is pretty nice, all the way back to the second row. In the rear seat, there's a decent amount of leg room. Again, I'm 6'4". The front seat is in a position where I was comfortable when I was sitting in that. Now sitting directly behind it, plenty of room for me. A lot of automakers add household plug-ins to their cars so you can easily charge devices. This one's a little different though. If you look down here, it's universal. That's for any country. You can plug in for an outlet from anywhere in the world. They also give you the nice USB plug-in back here as well. The rear seats do flip forward to allow you access to the third row. You can either do it through a handle down here, or there's one up on the shoulder of the seat as well. They kind of ratchet forward, and they're pretty strong when they flip down. Here's the problem though, that seat does not fold all the way down. That is as far as it goes. So good luck squeezing back there. And then when you go to push it back up, you can just push it straight back, but then it locks in place right there. And you have to pull the handle to get it all the way back. Taillights are full LED as well, and it does have a power lift rear tailgate. With a third row available that folds flat in the back. To move the rear seats back in position, there's a strap you can pull, but just like the second row, they lock in place, so then you have to pull the handle to get them all the way back. This is the funny one to me. It's the GM6. It's kind of their mid-size minivan, but I'll get to why it's not really a minivan in a second. But on this front end, they have these black plastic stick-on vents on this hilariously tall front bumper that goes all the way up the sides to the wheel arches. Inside you get 2 digital screens, one for your gauges, one for the nav system. There's a power button in between. I guess that just turns off the middle screen and changes it to you know, this time and date display. The center area, there's not really a center console. There's a couple cup holders down here, and then this flat spot you can place stuff, and then kind of a storage cubby underneath that has a charging port down there. On the left side, you see there's a traction control off, and then some sort of hill descent control, I'm assuming. They also have the camera button here, so you can see the 360-degree camera on this one. All your climate buttons are on these nice aluminum toggle switches here, which have a really good feel to them. This one again has the D, E, S, and W button. Oh, here we go. We might have figured it out. So W for winter, normal, eco, and sport. And the gauges change colors for every mode. That's a pretty cool design. Now here's why it's the minivan that isn't. If you take a look at the side of this, this is undoubtedly a minivan design. But when you come up to the door, it opens like a normal rear door. No sliding side door on this one, but you do have middle row captain's chairs. These armrests flip up and down, but they ratchet in between, so you can go all the way down, ratchet it up, and then it locks into place. Quilted carpet front and rear again. These seats do recline, but they don't fold forward to allow you in. There's kind of a center row there, but it's pretty tight to get back. These seats lay almost all the way back though. Another fully panoramic sunroof available in this one. The load floor is really low. It's easy to get into, but again, since there's an aisle here, there's no center console and there's no storage up here, so no real driver storage. There is a big area for storage back here under the rear seats, and these do fold all the way down into that area. They do offer a big boy minivan model in the GM8 though, and this does have the traditional sliding doors in the rear. It's also extendable footrest in that second row. So there's a lot of weird things about these cars, but I think it's kind of cool to see other countries' design methods when they're coming up with a vehicle, especially when they're trying to make one for the US market.